COVID continues to affect all aspects of our lives, and divorce is no exception. Because of the pandemic and a red-hot housing market, more couples seeking divorce are continuing to live under the same roof. So what are the legal complications around that? Well, let's find out. Joining us is divorce lawyer Alyssa Bach. Welcome to Your Morning.
Good morning.
Set this up for us. Why are couples seeking divorce living together more frequently than they did before?
Yeah, what we're seeing is that with this frenzied housing market, with the increased cost of rent, lack of options available, you're seeing couples staying in the same household longer after separation. While historically, it wouldn't be unusual to stay together for a couple months while you sort out your finances, find a new place, these extended periods are something that we're seeing more of because of all these other factors, and it's adding to these family law complications.
You know, emotional stress aside, what kinds of legal challenges can come out of continuing to be under the same roof as your spouse while you're also looking for divorce?
One of the biggest things that we see is the date of separation. Now, this is a really important date for married couples who are separating because that's the date that you look at your entitlements to assets. When you have such a large asset like a house that's only in the name of one of the spouses, their entitlement to that property and the value of that property is very determinative on that date of separation. So when you're continuing to live together, if there's this dispute about when you separate, normally that wouldn't be such a big deal, but with the housing market increasing prices in such short periods of time, you see that dispute over that increased value.
So if a couple finds themselves in this situation, what advice would you give them?
Some of the main things are to work on a separation agreement or at least solidify that date of separation. Make sure that it's communicated to your partner as soon as possible so that you two are on the same page. You also want to make sure that you're maintaining your privacy and respecting the privacy of your spouse, especially when it's coming to conversations with your lawyers, legal documents, and just ensuring that level of confidentiality. Creating a plan to make sure that you have something in place to achieve the ultimate goal of separate homes, and making sure that you have the other resources in place, like a financial advisor, so that you know what you can afford and those plans going forward.
Alyssa, as a divorce lawyer, what concerns you most about this development?
It's something that making sure that people understand what their rights are, what their obligations are, and that because of this frenzied market, making sure that everybody's on the same page to try and reduce the tensions. It's already a very stressful time for couples when they're separating. And so making sure that they have the proper information to get them on track.
And you bring up a really great point that it's not just about what your rights are in a situation of divorce, it's also about your obligations.
Yes, it is something that spouses may not understand what their obligations are with respect to the housing market and with respect to what they're going to owe their spouse from assets, and understanding what support obligations are and what your child care responsibilities are. There are so many factors that come into play when couples separate, and it's not just a take, there's also a give that's there as well.
Boy, separated but living under the same roof is just another challenge of this pandemic. Alyssa Bach, great to meet you. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.